Welcome to the Karyn Reece Show. I'm psychic medium Karyn Reece, joined by my co-host Alexa Zeppia. So we've been pretty busy as of late.
God, so busy, starting a new year.
Yes.
I'm so excited. And you know, it's funny because a lot of what we do together is very natural to us. We're around it all the time. We, you know,
True.
the psychic realm it's natural to us.
Talk about dead space.
Right.
Right. None in our world.
Exactly. But for other people, it's kind of taboo, right? Like, it's not, have you ever gotten that by people like, ooh, what you do is like, oh, no.
Yeah, I laugh at that because I always tell people, if you really believe in God, then you don't need to worry about, you know, something devilish bothering you. And quite frankly, when you really think about it, if I was on the other side, if I had a chance to communicate with somebody here that I felt the need to do so, of course I would seek out any means possible. I mean, just because you leave your physical doesn't mean you cease to exist.
Perfect.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. And so the other day, we're in the office, and my cousins FaceTimed me, who are 6 and 3, Harley and Gracie, and we were just talking. And Harley was talking about how she just watched this new Disney Pixar movie, Soul, and she's describing it. She's like, it's so good, and she loved it. And to like a younger kid level, as she was talking, it kind of sounded like what you do. So of course, then we had to watch it because why not? It was so good. It was so cute. But it kind of brought to life, I guess, like the not sort of like taboo things that, like, you know,
Happen
with, exactly.
Well, you know, it's kind of funny because oftentimes people have, you know, they have their own belief systems, whether it's religion or whatever their situation may be. But I really think it does highlight the whole point of living, you know.
It does.
Is dying worth living? I think they say that in the movie.
It's a direct
as well.
quote.
Yeah.
It's a direct quote.
I mean, it's a great movie, and it really fills you with a sense of purpose, which people often ask, what is my purpose? What is the point of being here? We all have a purpose. You know, and it may not just be one thing, it may be several things. And, you know, clearly to, you know, experience life, live, love, laugh, you know, learn and develop, you know, what is your purpose? Why are you here? What, you know, what are the things that, you know, are important to you? You know, so I know.
And in the movie, too, I mean, there's so much from what you've told me about, like, the other side and, like, what you see. But when the main character transitions over, so basically he falls in a hole. And
sounds like my life.
he falls in a hole and he meets all these like little blue blobs, and
sounds my
and they're little souls, and they need to develop in order to get onto the earth plane. And when he transitions, it's kind of like an out-of-body experience. So he experiences the Hall of You, where you're able to see all of your experiences that you've had. It's kind of like what you say is like the Akashic Record. It's like you know, a full layout, I guess, of everything you've done in your life. Is that
good, bad,
right?
or naughty?
Yeah.
It's actually a book, and each life has a chapter to it. And if you talk to anybody that has a near-death experience that have gone to the lighter side, fortunately, they've had the chance to look at that.
Right.
Not so many of the other people that go where it's a little hotter, but
and the colors are super bright, which is one of the things that you said on the other side. Like, everything's super bright and happy, you know. And that you're able to see different people and different souls. And then when you find that missing piece of you, which they call your purpose, then you can transition. So it's kind of like super cool because it's kind of showing people that, or especially young kids, and talking about death to young kids, but how, you know, when you transition to the other side, that you can still see what's going on. And they talk about like out-of-body experiences. It's just really cool that a movie was made about purpose and the pre-life, I guess you could say, and post. And it's really what you do and what you provide to people. And now Disney does it too, so.
They always do it good.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about it too, the other thing is what connects everybody, what do we all have in common? At some point, we're going to leave this earth, we're going to die.
Yeah.
So while you're here, you know, we don't always realize it, we don't think of it, you know, we see other people around us passing away, but at some point, we're also going to be leaving our bodies. So the whole point is, while you're here, be the best you can be. Do the best that you can be. A lot of times people will say, what is my purpose? I tell people, what do you daydream about? You know, what's important to you? And that's really, you know, the meat of it. And, you know, being able to excel at something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
You know, well, we don't enjoy cooking.
So do you think a movie such as this, like Soul, you know, there's like ghosts and things like that, that's the more like, you know, paranormal part. But do you think a movie like this, well, two things, would help teach people about death in the afterlife? Or especially kids, and talking to them about death? Or do you find it that it would be more acceptable, I guess you can say, and not as taboo as people think so?
Well, I think it's all of the above.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great movie. It's very entertaining, and it's done in a really more like lighthearted way.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you, like, if you want to put your tippy toes in, or you just want to have a nice, enjoyable evening. And it applies to all ages too. Surprisingly, you don't have to be a young person to enjoy it. You can be an adult.
Yeah.
You know.
So how do you think is the best way to explain death to kids, because it's such a heavy topic?
That's a good question. I would explain it as though your body has a spirit. Your body's like a pair of clothes. And sometimes, when the clothes wear out, you have to transition. Mm-hmm. And that means your spirit body leaves your physical. You look like yourself, only healthier. And, you're in a little bit of a different type of landscape, but you're still alive. And usually you'll see your loved ones or maybe your pets or whatever. Mm-hmm. But at some point we all will be with the angels on the other side. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, it's good. And I'm glad that Pixar was able to kind of...
It's a great movie for that reason. And it also brings to light, too, when you have kids that are very sick, or, even adults that have never really thought about the afterlife for whatever reason or believed in it, it does give you a little bit of a glimpse of what to expect. And it gives you some hopes, too.
Yeah.
And it gives you a reason to rethink, what is my purpose? What should I do? What's important to me?
Yeah. I love
it's
that.
a great...
Living,
I loved it.
Living to live, not living to die, essentially.
Exactly. But I'm still not going to cook.
Neither will I. So.
Not my purpose.
Not my purpose in this world either.
No, just to celebrate all the restaurants that are out there. That's what we'll do.
Exactly. Good. We support local.
Right, exactly.
I love it. Anyway, we'll be right back with the Karyn Reece Show. Hi guys, we are so excited to have such a dear friend of ours with us today. She's a social media influencer, a podcaster, a life coach, and also Big Brother Season 20 house guest, Caitlin Herman.
Yay. Hello everyone. Hi my dear friends.
Hi, how are you?
Good, hanging in there. It's cold out, but doing my best.
It's winter New York. Welcome to East Coast life now, honestly.
Thank you for having me. I'm not unfamiliar with this, but it's always hard to be back. It really is.
We love to have you back on our coast, I'll say that.
What perfect timing, it's snowing. What better way to remind you.
I have to remind myself that I chose to leave sunny Los Angeles for this, and God only knows why, but we'll figure it out.
Question though, along your journey of being a major influencer, a life coach, a spiritual advisor, can you tell us one of your most difficult challenges that you've overcome, and how did you do it, or what motivated you, or how did you get there?
Yeah, with my life thus far, like two come to mind, but I'd say the biggest one that I went through on like a public level was coming off of Big Brother. It's a show that when you go on, when you walk into that house, you don't really expect what is going to come of that for you. And like, it's a primetime show. You know that a lot of people are watching it. You know that there's live feeds. These are all things but you don't really realize the magnitude of it until you're out of the house, because we don't have our phones. We don't know what's happening in the outside world when we're there. And what's so interesting about the show is because you're in this bubble and because you're surrounded by the same 15 people, you might know in your head that you said something offensive or you acted out of character or any of those things, but you don't actually care because the repercussions are not immediate. I know in my head when I come off the show, I might have to explain this or explain that, but you don't really care that much because no one's yelling. I don't have my phone. I don't know how people are responding to it. So you just don't care. And when you're taken back into the world and you can see all of the things that you might have said or done or acted on that maybe was not exemplary, and the way people felt about it, because they don't forget and they're going to tell you the second you come out, it's a big wake-up call. And that was a very challenging thing for me, having to relive some of the decisions I made in that house, and people that I aligned with, and things that I said that were just not characteristic at all. And growing from that, and for a very long time, and I'm sure Karyn, like, you can understand, but like, not everyone resonates with the type of people we are. Not everyone is into the spirituality, and especially when you're on a show like Big Brother, where the primary audience is like middle of America or the South, that like aren't open to this lifestyle. There's a lot of judgment that's thrown our way. So I had to deal with a lot of online bullying and harassment and all of that stuff. And I said to myself, you have two choices, Caitlin. You're either going to sit in your room and cry about it for the rest of your life, or you're going to take this opportunity and stand your ground and continue to do the work that you do, because you know that it's affecting some people. And that's exactly what I did. So yeah, I mean, that was probably the most challenging thing I've ever had to deal with in my life, just the public scrutiny from so many people.
And on Big Brother, the way you were portrayed was like the quote crazy one, because you're the spiritual one. So it was, it was the bells going off when you talk, and like the rainbows and the this, and it's like, what even? Like, so I think that, I mean, I don't know, you were like the first spiritual person really that was on the show, and you were seen as like the crazy one for that. And then now there's all these people, like the scene where you like had everyone in there doing yoga and like meditating, and like Swaggy was in there just like sitting there, and and it's just like, you brought that to the show. So in a way, I think that you are a pioneer of Big Brother for bringing on the new face of like spirituality, and like making it acceptable to be on public television in that sort of way, in a primetime manner, in more of a spiritual sense, because it was kind of taboo before.
Well, and the other thing too, it really shows the human side of who we all are. We all have our vulnerabilities. We all make mistakes. So I think at some point or some level, even though, people may have had one perception, it still shows we make mistakes. And the other thing too with TV, that a lot of times things are edited or manipulated in a way that doesn't always reflect the true core of who you are. We know you, we love you, so it's kind of interesting when you get that, perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And you're right, Alexa, with the whole, like, with Big Brother, they try to cast like the character. We have the girl from Texas, we have the athlete, we have this and that. I was the first person that they brought on that was like the spiritual kooky girl, which then set the tone for them to have another one the following season, a girl, Christy. And am I proud of that? Like, kinda. I kinda am. I think that's really cool.
You just released this course called Defunk Yourself, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Can you kind of explain to our viewers what that is, what it entails, things like that?
Yeah, so Defunk Yourself was actually a program that I created even before Big Brother, and it was after college, and I was diagnosed with a health condition, and I was just like not okay. I was depressed, I was anxious, I just did not know what the future held for me because of it. And I had just started getting into spirituality. I still had a full-time job. I was not a coach, but I just was into journaling at the time, and I started creating my own program, I guess, of how to get myself out of this funk, because I kept trying to look up different things and I couldn't find anything that resonated with me. So I was like, screw it, I'll make it myself. So it was just something that I had for a little bit. And then when I decided to quit my full-time job and, go into a coaching certification program, something I did after becoming certified was like go to local yoga shops and metaphysical stores on Long Island and be like, can I teach this? Like, and these places would let me. So this has been a course that I've taught for a long time, but after Big Brother, I was in the deepest funk of my life, and I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And then I was like, oh yeah, you wrote that thing. Maybe try it. Like, see if it works, like in your biggest funk of your life. And it did. And I always like beat myself up over the last 2 years of like, why haven't you released this sooner? Why haven't you released this sooner? But part of me feels like this was the perfect time to do it. Like 2020, what I knew the beginning of the pandemic, I'm like, this is the time to really focus in on Defunk Yourself and make it a digital course, because people actually need it right now. If people wouldn't have needed it 2 years ago, only I needed it. But now everyone needs it. We're all in a funk. And it's basically a 12-step program that helps you kind of come back to a place of peace. And everyone's funks look differently. And this is a very general course. It's for a beginner. It's for someone that maybe isn't that into spirituality. They don't really know where to start. It's a self-help beginner's course on how to get yourself back to that place of peace. And I'm really proud of it. And I'm so happy that it's out. And yeah.
I love that. So if people want to find out more about you and more about your courses that you offer, where can they find that?
Yeah, so if you want to either purchase Defunk Yourself, and it's only $25, it's like beyond cheap. It's over 50 pages of content, of guided meditation. There's audio, there's journaling exercises. You can go to katecoaching.com and just click the tab Defunk Yourself, and you'll be able to look at the different options on how to download that. If you want to follow me on Instagram, that's at Caitlin_Herman. It's really that. If you want to check out my podcast, Quarter Life Crisis, you can find me a lot of different ways.
Thank you so much, Kate. We look forward to
Thank
connecting with you again.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Love you too. Hi guys, so we're here with Ariel. Hi Ariel, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Of course. So Ariel found us on social. She's been following Karyn for many years, and she just wrote in to wish us a happy holidays and wanted to know about readings, and we put her into the random draw, and she was one of the lucky winners to get chosen. So your one-on-one with Karyn is about to begin. Karyn, take it over.
Because your grandfather's talking about handbags. Do you like handbags? Do you have like a fetish of handbags yet?
Oh, my mom loves purses. She has
your
many
mother.
purses.
Oh, so she's like the handbag fetish lady.
Yes.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I keep seeing that. Yeah, but apparently you've got people in your house, just so you know. Who's worked in the teaching business or who's worked around a school? Is it something your mother was supposed to do? Your grandfather's talking about who's connected to you that has some kind of connection with a college or with a school, having worked or will work.
My great aunt, she worked in higher education, just like how I do.
Yeah. It seems like she's trying to come in, or you've got people coming all around that are relating.
She's still with us. She's still with us.
Or then he says she's here then, because he's saying a woman and he's pointing here. So there's somebody trying to come in with this woman as well, just so you know, as far as that's concerned. And the other thing, I keep hearing the name Lee around you, like a Leah, Lisa, Leah.
My grandfather, who is going to be 99 years old, his name is Leon.
Well, I have
there you go.
Leon's parents that are here, so he may be related to November, December, your great grandparents, because they said close. You can't always hear them real clearly, so you got to give Grandpa Leon a big hug and a kiss from his mom and dad. And incidentally, your great grandparents love you immensely, and they look out after you all the time. They look at all the people around you. So, and they said that you're very solid. You're a true blue friend as far as that's concerned. What you see is what you get. And also you're very artistic too. I see a lot of artistic exploration in your future. Do you like to paint and draw? You're very visual, at least going into your future. And I see a lot of going to museums, things along that line.
Yeah, I'd love to know more about my career. I'm very creative with the work that I do. I'm very visual and with that. Yeah.
I saw that. And I saw you working a lot with kids too at some point along the way. Is that one of your goals are?
Well, my degree was in elementary education, but now I work with college students.
Okay.
Wait.
So do you know, did we talk about somebody working with school earlier a few minutes ago in your family or somebody close to you?
Yeah.
So somebody that has ties to elementary or to school.
Would that be you?
Oh, you were reading my own spirit of like how I was doing.
I said you had others that happened before. You're so blonde.
No, we've never spoken at the same before.
That's what your great grandfather, that's what Leon's parents, because it runs in the family. So you're like your aunt that's here. You have a similar, love of education. So that's what he was. The other thing, I keep hearing the name like an Aaron or Eric connection around you. Have you been close to like an Eric or an Aaron?
I was casually seeing a guy of the name Eric for a little bit, but I think that has ended.
Yeah. Was this recently that you're with this Eric? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, your great grandparents have no use from Leon's. Your grandfather says he's no good. He's not good enough for you. Just so you know. So you have haunted, well, your family what they're doing is they're haunting your house. So yeah, you may want to tell your folks, that, grandpa's parents are visiting all of us. Yeah. Have you ever been at night sleeping, and have you ever thought that your closet door has opened up during a sleep state?
No, maybe. My closet door, my dad had to fix it many times. Like the door of my bedroom, my apartment, it won't close all the way.
Yeah, because you have a ghost that keeps trying to open it up. That's one that your Leon's parents told me that.
Now I'm freaking out, Karyn. Oh my God.
Just eat your peas and your greens. They're laughing about that, but you're well protected by your loved ones on the other side. I did see a lot of stage work with you in the future. So I see you up on stage doing like motivational types of talks, speaking engagements with children as well as with adults. I also see you like sort of being a leader in your industry, giving pointers on how to, whatever it is that you're looking to do, how to motivate kids, how to whatever. Especially kids that may be a little bit more difficult, because I see difficult kids around you, but you seem to relate to them, and they seem to relate very comfortably with you. And you're going to be very involved with your children too. So I see 3. So
My children. 3? Oh, I thought I was only going to have 2. Oh, how exciting. I'll have 3.
1, 2, and then the second one will be maybe an oopsie, but you've got, oh God, one other quick question. Does Grandpa Leon have a little bit of a problem with his walking or foot or something along that line? Because that's what Leon's mother just said, and your Gram just said that too. So you might want to tell Grandpa Leon that Grandma and then his parents are talking about his foot, some issues with his walking. You're very important to Grandpa Leon too, and you've been his granddaughter in every life. That's what your Gram just said to tell you.
Oh, wow. How interesting. He loves all his grandchildren, but that's very cool that I've been there in every life.
Well, I think maybe it might be one of his favorites, but we don't want to say it too loud. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But I think you got a good life ahead of you. And I think you're on the right path. Your career will keep taking its, branches will continue. But you got to give Leon a big hug and a kiss from Grandma and let him know what his parents have to say. And by the way, it gives your grandparents peace of mind that you take good care of Grandpa Leon. He's a good guy. And I guess he was a pretty good dancer back in the day. That's what I think Graham just said. Yeah, so tell him that.
Sweet. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so God bless you on that.
Have a great day, Ariel. Thanks for joining us.
Everything. Thank you so much.
Stay tuned for more from The Karyn Reece Show.
Welcome back to The Karyn Reece Show. If you'd like to connect with Karyn, you may do so by visiting her website at www.karynreece.com, spelled KarynReece.com. We are located at 5987 Main Street in the village of Williamsville. You can connect with her on social by visiting Facebook or Instagram at Psychic Medium Karyn Reece, or on Twitter as well. You can also call our office number at 716-580-2520 if you would like to book an appointment. So I think with Soul and other movies that could be like that, by shedding more light on what you do, it could bring about, a better education of how this topic and field works.
Well, I think that's key too, because people don't realize it takes a lot of energy for spirit people to actually connect into our energy here, and you don't hear them really clearly. Yeah. Like I read somebody recently, and I kept hearing the name like a Darren, Derek, and it was a connection to this woman's to this one woman, and no Darren connection. I'm like, I keep hearing that name. It's a male, Darren, Eric. Anyways, turns out that this connection happened to be called Derek. So it was like so close because you don't always hear, and it's like trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Yeah. So it's tough on people like us, but if you're open-minded and you don't try to think so seriously, you can sometimes really see more of what's being said. Yeah.
Yeah, and focusing more on the full message. So on that note, thank you so much for watching this edition of The Karyn Reece Show.